a rock solid start to this pod for us.
We're just killing it.
We're just absolutely down. Hey, it's the off season. What do you want?
Are you close to an electrical substation by chance?
Many are asking. I do have a small light here. I've got a light in my room. Who's to say what the EMFs are doing to my brain? Good news though, Chris. The 49ers are hiring a investigative. I actually don't know that. But John Lynch said, yeah, we're going to look into what's going on at the substation. So injury problem solved. Watch out.
Right. So I've gone, I wouldn't even say back and forth, just like the idea that the idea that players and agents are worried about it certainly is, I guess, of note. And this is the electrical substation thing. First of all, it's the agent's prerogative to be concerned about any and everything because they use any and everything to try to extract more money from teams and gain leverage in negotiations. So I don't really find it notable that an agent would be like, well, we're really concerned about this issue, but our concern would go away if you give us $2 million more guaranteed, right? Like that. I don't put a whole lot of credence into that. So this idea that, the electrical substation thing is a real issue because agents and players are talking about it, that doesn't really seem like that. That's a non-starter to me. The other thing, and look, I don't want to say that it's a conspiracy theory because there are reputable scientists who say there just isn't enough information to completely debunk it. While most scientists believe that there's no way that there's enough electricity emanating from the substation to say that there's any serious stuff happening in terms of it relating to 49ers injuries and all that. I have an alternative theory for the Niners injuries that I've thought a lot about for the last, few days since the Niners season ended, and I kind of want to go through it right now. So in 2011, there was a new CBA enacted, and a big part of it had to do with player safety, largely due to concussions. And a lot of that was limiting the physicality of practices you could have in the off season. So, and this is not to blame anybody or to blame concussions for the injuries. This is just like my interpretation of what the issue might be. 2017, you had another new CBA enacted that further restricted off-season programs and really started to get into training camp and what you can do in training camp and the limited number of padded practices you can have in training camp, et cetera, et cetera. And further, in 2020, there was another CBA that even limited off-season work even more. At this point, you can't have any fully padded practices before training camp. You can only have one mandatory session of OTAs in June, and it used to be unlimited, right? So over the last 15, 16 years, there's been a dramatic decrease in terms of the work football players do at the team's facility, out of player safety, and just the players have collectively bargained this while the league has grown the number of games, et cetera, et cetera. And this is an aside, but in covering the NBA, I've talked to NBA players about the calf injuries and the Achilles injuries that have been really notable and problematic in the NBA. And one thing NBA players have said to me pretty consistently is that they believe the less training camp that you have in the NBA leads to players not being as physically prepared for an NBA season, thus more prone to calf injuries. And I think you could probably make a case that in the NFL, the lack of an off-season program in terms of players being at the facility doing football-related things, and instead players doing speed training and weightlifting and all of these things, instead of getting their body calloused and ready for a football season, they're just preparing for a football season in a different way. They're not callousing their body the same way. And I think that lack of off-season work that's declined since the 2011 CBA and then 2017 and then 2020, we're at a place where players are less prepared to play football. At the same time, where the NFL is expanding the schedule to 17 games. They have more Thursday night games. They take away bye weeks for the 2 seeds in the playoffs while also adding another team to each side of the bracket. And they're also adding all of these random, Christmas Day games, Black Friday games in Europe, forcing teams to travel halfway across the world more often. And all of this impacts recovery time, players' bodies, et cetera, et cetera. For the 49ers, too, they've also played a boatload of playoff games since 2019, more than just about every other team in the NFL, save for the Chiefs and the Eagles. All of which is to say, I think there are a lot of different contributing factors to the injury stuff. And I think if you look at all of those things and do studies about players not doing football things at the team facility in the offseason, makes a lot more sense to me that would be a bigger cause for injuries than a conspiracy about electromagnetic fields, where the vast majority of scientists believe that, this stuff is fake.
That's how I've kind of viewed it. Like, that's what logically makes sense to me. But like I said, I think after the George Kittle injury a couple of weeks ago, like I said, I think it's at least worth, if for no other reason, looking into to rule out so this stops being a thing. And I know that it's not going to be a talking point or it's going to stop being a talking point among everybody. Like, there's always going to be conspiracy theorists. There's always going to be people who don't believe what they tell you. People, like, that's just the nature of humanity. But I do think if you're the 49ers, especially if like players are talking about it in the locker room, and if players believe it, I think you at least have to go look at it. Like,
for sure.
Just in case there's anything to it. But I think ignoring it at this point is just going to, the next year, God forbid, somebody inevitably comes up with a hamstring pull or something. I think that's going to be something that immediately comes up.
For sure. And so, I don't dismiss the idea that players are talking about it. I would say that NFL players, by and large, are not scientists.
What?
Right?
Get out.
So I don't doubt for a second. I don't doubt for a second that it's a talking point in the locker rooms. Look, you and I are both privy to a group chat where an NFL player has told both of us the reasons that they believe there might be something to it. I've spoken to somebody else about the exact theory that was floated about, the dead trees being on that side of the parking lot. And somebody who I know pretty well actually did architectural work and design work at the practice facility, and noted that the planters are just very small and don't receive the same amount of water, which could be contributing to the death of the trees along the side of the substation. So again, like, I'm not ruling it out entirely. I just find it funny that this whole thing has gone viral when there actually are scientists. Now, the Washington Post did a great story breaking it all down, talking to a lot of people, and it was basically like 75% of the people, the scientific community that they
scientists who study this stuff, not randos.
Said there are similar levels of electricity in houses as there are practicing next to that facility. So it's. And the other scientists were like, well, there isn't a study to say that it's absolutely not true. So
sure.
It's just going to be one of those things.
What bothers me about it is not the theory. Like, flat earth theory bothers me because, like, what's fucking not, man? So but the theory doesn't bother me. In fact, I think it's super interesting. Like, what a novel thing that to those other scientists' point that you're talking about in that Washington Post piece. There's nothing that says no, like, for sure. There's nothing that says yes, it's a problem, but there's nothing yet that they can rule it out. I don't mind the theory. I mind the certainty of people who, like, this is it. Obviously, you idiots. Like, well, of course it is. Like, what? No, it might not be. Like, it might, maybe. It's the certainty and the self-assuredness that bugs me.
Right.
Anyways.
And also the people who are victory lapping this, that, John Lynch acknowledged that they're looking into it, and people, content creators who are victory lapping it, like, I did this is me, when they're pulling that like they're not even Peter Cowan or whatever the guy's name was who initially did the viral post that everyone's referencing with this stuff. It's like, all right, so you peddled somebody else's theory, and just because you posted about it constantly on social media, you're the reason why this went viral. It's like, this is,
also players have been, from what I understand, the former NFL player who we spoke to said that this is being talked about well before whatever tweets went out.
Right.
But this isn't new. Anyways, It's new to social media, though. But hey, be loud and have wrong opinions. That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Other stuff, more important stuff that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan talked about. I'm glad and I'm thankful that John Lynch, left no doubt that Brandon Aiyuk has played his last snap for the 49ers. I just didn't need an offseason of, it's my problem. I don't think it would have benefited anybody if there was an offseason of speculation that maybe Brandon Aiyuk will come back and could they trade him? And did they do this? There's not, it's done. There's no coming back from it. He's not going to be on the team anymore. And his injury against the Chiefs in week 7 of the 2024 season was his last snap ever with the 49ers.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. I'm honestly concerned about Brandon Aiyuk from just a human perspective.
100%.
Is Brandon Aiyuk ever going to play in the NFL again? I think that's a very fair question. Is Brandon Aiyuk okay? I think that's probably the biggest question. And I think two things are absolutely fair. It's fair to be really concerned about Aiyuk the person, and also fair to ask the question, what the hell happened? How did it get to this point? Mm-hmm. And the way Kyle Shanahan talked about it, if you're an NFL coach, you see a lot of crazy stuff, right? NFL players are often very volatile people. Anybody who's been around an NFL team for any certain amount of time has seen a lot of volatility from, whatever. 49ers fans know what this volatility can look like, right? There was the Jim Harbaugh year, there was Aldon Smith, there was Ray McDonald, there was all that stuff. And I'm not looping Brandon Aiyuk into that because I don't know that he's done any of that. But what I'm saying is, for Kyle Shanahan to say, I've never seen anything like this in my 22 years of coaching, stands out to me as, man, that's crazy, because NFL coaches see a lot of stuff when it comes to volatile personalities.
Yep.
And so for Shanahan, if you haven't heard the clip, Shanahan basically said he was calling Brandon Aiyuk and never heard back from him. He talked to other people in the organization who were trying to reach Brandon Aiyuk, and he never got back to any of them. Brandon Aiyuk basically, at some point over the summer before the start of training camp, while he was supposed to be rehabbing his knee at the team's facility, just kind of ghosted everybody with the 49ers. And there's been zero communication since. The fact that Brandon Aiyuk and the NFL Players Association never even filed a grievance to recoup some of the guaranteed money that the 49ers voided with that contract just makes me wonder if Brandon Aiyuk has any interest. What are his interests? What is Brandon Aiyuk's goal here? And if it's just to get out of the NFL and not get any of that money back that should have been his, and if he wants to end his career, then that's fine. He can do that. But I think the fact that nobody knows what's happening with Brandon Aiyuk is worrisome and troublesome.
The other aspect of that, just as you list out the things that are strange about this, that make it, I also find it really, really telling, for maybe lack of a better word. We never got the opposing story on this.
Right.
Diana Rossini and Mike Silver did the initial reporting, and that was just kind of it. We never got Brandon Aiyuk's agent. If what this was just Brandon Aiyuk said, they want me to do X, Y, and Z, and that's ridiculous. I'm ready to play. They don't want me to come back yet. This is a mess. I don't want to be here anymore. I wish they had traded me. Get me out. I'm done. And the 49ers responded by waiving his guarantees. The agent, there would have been Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Tom Pelissero, Mike Garofalo, some insider,
Jay Glazer
would have had a story about how, hey, here's what Aiyuk's camp says. We never got that, at least that I saw. Maybe I'm super wrong here. It kicks my whole point aside. I don't remember ever seeing that.
Yeah.
Which is the other thing. Like, not only did the Niners waive his guarantees, not only did Aiyuk tell the Players Association not to waive it, but Aiyuk's agent or somebody from his camp never even came out and said, actually, here's our side of the story.
Right.
That's crazy.
There's no, like that. Somebody easily, I mean, in a lot of cases, it's a player going on a podcast and saying, this is how this coach or this team mistreated me, or right. An agent reaching out to a reporter and saying, this is the list of the ways the 49ers screwed this up. And it's not just on me. There's been no indication of any of that. And there's no indication that any of that's coming. And it just kind of feels like Brandon Aiyuk quit football. And, you hope he's okay. Like, obviously for the 49ers, it sucks because this is an all-pro receiver who helped them reach the Super Bowl at one point and has been, a productive player for them. But from the human element, it's like, man, I just, you just worry about somebody's mental health when it comes to stuff like this, because people in any walk of life, anyone just leaves their job and ghosts everybody involved with it. Mm-hmm. That's problematic and potentially scary. Like so to hear Kyle Shanahan say he's never seen anything like this in his 22 years of coaching, given all of the volatile personalities everybody in the NFL sees on a regular basis, that's wild to me and very telling.
Yeah, it's I hope the best for Brandon Aiyuk for sure. Just personally, if he lands with another NFL team, I hope he's healthy and plays well and stuff. But I know they couldn't probably talk about it a lot during the year. The fact that the Niners have just the door is shut.
Yeah.
It wasn't some one season like, oh, we're mad, but we'll try and mend fences. There's no fence to be mended. It's over.
Yeah. And from just a practical football perspective, people are going to want to know if the 49ers can trade him. Like, sure, they could, but his trade value has got to be just about nothing. Like, I don't think any team is trying to trade for that contract and the right to pay the rest of, Aiyuk's money on that. I think teams are far more likely to just maybe take a shot on Brandon Aiyuk if he even wants to play football as a free agent, which means the 49ers are likely to cut him. If they cut him, they probably give him a post-June 1 designation, split the $26 million in half and have that in dead money spread out over the next 2 years. Or maybe they just bite the bullet and take the $26 million in dead cap in 2026. So that's all stuff, semantics that will get sorted out later on. But no, I don't think Brandon Aiyuk has any sort of trade value, and I can't imagine another team trading the Niners for him right now.
No, especially like that's always the case when a team knows a player is going to be released anyway.
Yeah.
And this is like the most extreme version of that. There's no bridge to fix here. I did see in relation to that, I saw some reporting today that the 49ers are interested in a Jordan Addison trade. I believe it was Grant Cohn who reported that. The Jordan Addison who's been in trouble with the police multiple times in the past 2 years, 3 years. Why? I that just doesn't. I get, okay, from a football perspective, yeah, Jordan Addison's a good player, but let's be real about the personalities and the people the 49ers are trying to bring into their locker room. If you just had the super, you're talking about player volatility, you had the super volatile thing with Brandon Aiyuk, I feel like you would want to take a year or two off from purposely bringing in a player who's had law enforcement issues.
That like the 49ers haven't, I can't even remember off the top of my head the 49ers last arrest that they've had. It's been a long time. I'm sure there's, and that was years ago.
2018.
Yeah, so I can't imagine that being a thing for the 49ers, like wanting to go get a guy who's, been arrested 3 times in the last 3 years. Additionally, like, they're not doing off-season planning yet. Like, they're not identifying players they want to trade for just yet. Like, this is...
Sure.
I'm not doubting that somebody told Grant that the 49ers want Jordan Addison. I just don't believe that the front office has gotten together and outlined like what their off-season plans are, who their trade targets are. Like, that to me just doesn't track at all, because you have very important members of the front office who are flying across the country for GM interviews elsewhere. So I don't find it plausible that they have any sort of concrete ideas on who they want to trade for, let alone trading for Jordan Addison, who has the history with law enforcement that he has.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson, on the other hand.
Well, we do know that the 49ers tried to trade for Justin Jefferson in 2024. That was an Adam Schefter report. And from what I know, I don't think their feelings on Justin Jefferson have changed.
I hope not.
For whatever that's worth.
Yeah. I have one other thing that jumped out to me from the presser that I would like to dive into. But before we do that, let's dive into sglambchops.com. Lamb Chops, a presenting sponsor of this podcast, has a winter 2026 line out that includes a starter style jacket, black with the gray trim. Very, very fire. But they still have the fall 2025 line is still out. That's a sweater. It's a black sweater, a black knit sweater that, according to sources, fits like a hug. That's what I hear. A couple of t-shirts that are going to be high quality. They're going to fit great. There's a matching full zip hoodie and sweatpants combo there, sglambchops.com. And plus, you search Candlestick and you'll run into the official Candlestick Chronicles hoodie and t-shirt. It's the only place you can get it at sglambchops.com. Use promo code Candlestick20 when you check out for 20% off your order. Lamb Chops, join the herd.
Candlestick Chronicles is also brought to you by Prize Picks. I was messing around. I haven't gone on here yet. I'll just keep this Prize Picks website up. It's no longer the holiday season. It's the best time of year for sports, though. Basketball matchups, playoff pushes, it's all happening. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which games to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. Prize Picks. I'm very interested in making a big old lineup for championship weekend. I think I'm going to go heavy on Drake May. I think I kind of just believe in the Patriots going to Denver, and I'm going to take the less than numbers on Jarrett Stidham. I think Stidham is probably going to have a moment where it's like a first drive touchdown drive, right? Where it's like, oh my God, Jarrett Stidham might be the guy. Then the game kind of settles in, and it's no longer running on Sean Payton's script. The Patriots defense settles in a little bit, and then it's going to be tough sledding for our guy Stidham. So I'm probably going to go less than. I'm gonna fade the Broncos offense. Put it that way.
Nice.
And then I think I might fade all offenses in the Rams and Seahawks game on the NFC side. Just because Seattle's defense is so good, and I actually think the Rams defense can bottle up Sam Darnold and company. No Zach Charbonnet. Can the Seahawks form a competent rushing attack with just one running back and no Charbonnet? That remains to be seen. So you can ride with me or you can fade me if you want. Download the PrizePicks app today, either way, and use code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right.
Heck yeah, it is. All right. I'm looking through. I'm trying to make a lineup right now. All right. Last thing that jumped out to me from the Shanahan and John Lynch press conference, and there's nothing like real surprising here, but they were, saying that ostensibly or essentially, they don't want to trade Mac Jones. Now, they did that. We're not in the business of getting rid of good players, but it would stand to reason that if the 49ers think they're going to get something like a third round comp pick for Mac Jones, that would be the starting point. And then I think when you look at Brock Purdy with the toe injury and you look at his injury history and you look at what Mac Jones did running the Niners offense this year, he becomes a really important piece for them where, all right, I can see the 49ers trading him, but I think it would have to be like an early day 2 pick or maybe a first round pick even.
I think covering this team over the years has taught me that them speaking very positively about a player who may or may not be traded or may not be on the roster at the end of a season is not really indicative of anything other than that they don't want to give up leverage. Right? So while Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have been effusive in their praise of Mac Jones, and I've spoken to players who have said, like, I asked guys in the locker room, what's been the difference this year with all the injuries that allowed you guys to keep winning as opposed to 2021 and 2024 when you had similar levels of injuries but just had losing seasons? He told me Mac Jones. Like, Mac Jones is his ability to just keep things afloat and play quarterback at a reasonably high level, approximating a good starting quarterback, or a good franchise quarterback, I should say, is really the reason why they were able to go 12-5, given Brock Purdy missed so much time with the toe injury. And John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan basically echoed that sentiment today, which is not entirely surprising. But they're just never that. John Lynch also said, we'll listen on everybody.
Sure, of course.
But the point here is, like, even if they were trying, like, say they were desperately trying to offload Mac Jones, which they're not. But if they were desperately trying to trade Mac Jones, they would not come out and say, we cannot trade Mac Jones fast enough. We just really need to move on from this guy, yada, yada, yada. Because then you lose your negotiating power. You lose a little bit of leverage. Not that like what you say in a press conference is meaningful, but just how it works in the NFL and how it works in sports, unless you're Mike Dunleavy, is
Mike Dunleavy Jr.
Sorry, Mike Dunleavy II, Mike Dunleavy's son. You talk about how valuable and how important this player is to you, because then if another team comes calling you, you can say, no, this guy was super important to us. Like, we'll take a second round pick, sure, but we're not just giving him away. Look how important he was to us. So that's sort of the lesson, is always like, yeah, these guys are just going to gas up their players incessantly, whether they believe it or not. And I'm not saying they don't believe it, because they very much do, but they're not going to say, yeah, if we could get a fourth for Max, sure. Yeah, let's do that. They're like, that'll never be something that's said by a competent front office in a press conference.
But if a team offers a 4th round pick for Mac Jones, I don't think I want to do that.
No, me neither. I would do it for a second if I'm the Niners.
Yeah, like it's less about what I think a team would offer, and more is as the year went on, it just became more and more clear that like, man, you just can't trade this guy, and especially if he's so popular in the locker room, which apparently he is.
Yeah.
So I thought that there was going to be no shot that Mac Jones was on the 49ers next year, but unless the team is really ready to pay up, I think that's going to be the case in a free agency.
I would do it for a second, for sure. I think at any level of the second round, I would do it for an early third, but I would probably need like another pick attached to it, like an early first half of the third and like a sixth or a fifth.
Yeah,
probably. That's just me talking.
Trading Mac Jones for more than they traded for Trent Williams would be pretty amazing.
So that might go down as the best trade Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch ever made.
The Trent Williams one?
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know if it's close. Emmanuel Sanders mattered a lot, but that was kind of an overpay.
Well, Christian McCaffrey was a
good player. That's a good point. That was also a trade.
But that was what, a second, a third, and 2 fourths or something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah,
but it's worth it. Like it 100% paid off.
Yeah. The one thing that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch didn't really talk about, which I would have been interested to ask them, like they're both going into year 10 together as a combination. We know John Lynch has in the past sort of been approached by, Amazon or other networks. He used to work at Fox, obviously, and offered what, $20 million a year to broadcast,
something like that.
Like, I wonder if there is more urgency from their standpoint because of where they are in their tenures. And if John Lynch is like nearing that point where like, yeah, family life or like broadcasting sounds way less stressful and similarly lucrative to being a GM of an NFL team. Like, at what point is John Lynch, like, is he feeling urgency to win a Super Bowl because he's like, I only got a couple years left of doing this in me. Right.
Yeah.
And for Kyle Shanahan, next year, he matches Bill Walsh the length of his head coaching tenure with the Niners.
For the longest in Niners history.
Yeah, Bill Walsh only coached the Niners for 10 years. And it might just be that Kyle Shanahan's just like, yeah, I got 15 more years of coaching in me. Like, Kyle Shanahan could easily coach till he's 65 or whatever. Like, that wouldn't be surprising. But, like, the big picture thing I would be curious, like, is this Andy Reid in the with the Eagles scenario where at some point the Eagles just move on from Andy Reid because as good as he was and as successful as he was, he never won a Super Bowl and they just need to go a different direction like the Eagles did? I forget exactly. Do you remember how long Andy Reid was with the Eagles?
I don't, but they went to those like 4 straight NFC title games and a Super Bowl. And then they had like 2 down years where they weren't great. And then
so maybe it would take like down years before it got to that point. Andy Reid was with Philadelphia. Okay, he was with Philadelphia for 14 years.
Yeah, it's long.
His last year he went 6-11. Oh no, sorry, this is I'm reading the Chiefs. His last 2 years he went 8-8 and then 4-12 and then went to the Chiefs. So the point here is like, is Kyle Shanahan gonna just stick it out with the 49ers? Because I think he can honestly be there as long as he wants, barring any like really down seasons. Or is this going to be something where he's just going to feel like he just needs a change of scenery, or the Niners feel like they need a change of scenery? Like, there are not a lot of coaching tenures that last as long as Kyle Shanahan's has, just in general.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the Bills fire Sean McDermott. We're recording this Wednesday. They fired him this morning,
right?
Or yesterday, I guess Tuesday. For essentially like this morning, their owner had a press conference and said that they hit the proverbial playoff wall. I don't think the 49ers have done that with Shanahan, because it's not like they've gone to 2 Super Bowls and been dominated. They're a couple plays away from having 2 rings, in which
Right.
in that event we're not even discussing this, right? So I don't think it's a playoff wall. It's not like, God, they just can't get past the divisional round, or they can't get to the Super Bowl. Like, they've done it. They've gotten very close in those games. I think if I'm Jed York, I'm not like itching to fire Kyle Shanahan.
No, definitely
Because
not.
finding a coach that's this, like, I don't underestimate stability. Like, that obviously matters a lot. They've been hella successful, regardless of what a portion of the fan base thinks that, you win a Super Bowl or you're a massive failure. They've been hella successful under Kyle Shanahan. I believe it was from 98 to 2016. They had like 6 playoff wins or 8 playoff wins or something. And Kyle Shanahan has 9. Like, that's significant. That matters. I think what it's going to take is, and I think we're in the midst of this right now when you talk urgency, this is where I think there would be some urgency for Kyle Shanahan. They're very clearly, like, the page is turning into some new era of 49ers football where it's not going to be Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey. You're going to have to replace those 2 cornerstones. You got Nick Bosa coming back from an injury and getting older. George Kittle coming back from an injury, getting older. Same thing with Fred Warner. Those guys are all entering their 30s or their mid-30s. They have to start rebuilding a roster that can go to Super Bowls. And that's what I think this year. I think he bought himself some time because of the coaching job that he did. But at the same time, if, let's say, they go back to the playoffs next year and they're a first or second round exit, Trent Williams retires, Christian McCaffrey either hangs him up or he's very much a secondary piece. George Kittle's never quite the same because he's going to be 34 when he comes back. How are they replenishing the roster? Are they able to restock it with a Super Bowl caliber group? And I think that's going to kind of be the determination. Is this trending back the right way, or are they going to be stuck in mediocrity? At which point, yeah, you probably gotta make a change. But I'm talking like 5-6 years down the road. I don't think Kyle Shanahan's going anywhere. Like, if they miss the playoff next year, I don't think it's like, oh, hot seat time. I don't think it's anything like that.
Right. And I'm with you. And it's not even like, I don't even mean to bring it up as a sense of like, oh, I think Kyle Shanahan, like, his seat's getting warm.
Mm-hmm.
I bring it up from the standpoint of like, well, we've seen so many, like John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, like, they didn't necessarily get fired and or leave their jobs because they're bad coaches. It's just not every tenure lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
And at what point is there light at the end of the tunnel for John Lynch and or Kyle Shanahan? Right? Like, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, you're going into year 10, like, is that factoring in? Do you feel more urgency to do it now because you are getting into those potentially latter years of your tenure? Or is Kyle Shanahan just going to be like the Niners coach for the next 10 years? And he's going to, like, I certainly think that's possible. And also, like, at what point does Jed York, like, say it's 5 years from now and the 49ers go to the playoffs in 3 of the next 5 years and they play in 2 NFC championship games, reach a Super Bowl, but they don't win it. 5 years from now, is Jed York going to be like, yeah, Kyle's our guy still? Or is Jed York going to feel like, I think we've done everything that we could possibly do with this coach. We're going to move on. And I don't have the answer to that, obviously, but nothing lasts forever, particularly in the NFL. So I'm kind of getting to that point where I'm like, what is the long term of Kyle Shanahan with the 49ers? Because we're getting to year 10 and very, very few coaching tenures last 10 years. And this is going to come to an end at some point.
Yeah.
So
I don't know when. Yeah. And maybe next year, maybe Trent Williams retires and McCaffrey retires and Kittle hangs him up over the next couple of years, and Shanahan says, "You know what? I don't want to do the rebuild thing."
Right. And what's it look
but
like?
I have no idea.
If John Lynch, say the Niners win the Super Bowl next year, and John Lynch is like, cool, achieve my goal. I'm out. I'm retiring. I'm going to go call games, and Fox is going to pay me $25 million a year because I just won a Super Bowl, and my leverage is going to be high. Is Kyle Shanahan just like, cool, I'm fine with whoever we replace John Lynch with? Or does Kyle Shanahan look at it the same way? Like, well, I don't really have my guy anymore. Do I move on? Like, I don't know. There's just like a lot coming at some point, and it's starting to kind of creep over the horizon a little bit for me.
Yeah. I think I think every year now that's going to be a thing. Kyle Shanahan's going on the 10-year wall, along with John Lynch.
Yeah.
What is that like? What's after that? Yeah.
How long was Tomlin in Pittsburgh? I know I'm asking questions. I can just look this up.
19 years?
06. Yeah, 20 years. Oh, so 19 years with Pittsburgh as head coach, 1 year as the defensive coordinator with Minnesota.
Yeah. Hey, going back and looking at pictures, Mike Tomlin got hired as a 34-year-old, which is nuts. Looking at pictures of Mike Tomlin as a 34-year-old is crazy.
Yeah, well, it feels like every other picture or social media post about Kyle Shanahan, somebody's pointing out how much he's aged since he got hired in 2017.
Hey, it looks like shit. Clean it up, Kyle.
Which is, I mean, it's kind of, it's true for sure, but it's also like they take like the picture from the owners' meetings breakfast, and he's like very clearly, I don't want to say hungover, but probably hungover. Yeah. And it's like those breakfasts, the owners' meeting breakfasts usually happen after a big party the night before, which the media is invited to. It's one of the more unique circumstances I've ever seen where you have all of the NFL power brokers and the media at the same party and everybody's canoodling. And then the next morning they have the coaches' breakfast, which is at 7 a.m., where the coaches rehash everything they talked about with casually to the media the night before, only they're doing it in front of cameras and microphones. And that's always the picture they use of Kyle Shanahan. It's like, guys, of course he looks terrible. He was up till whatever hour in the morning drinking whatever he was drinking with members of the media who also tend to drink sometimes. And now you're posting a picture like, God, Shanahan looks like crap. Like, we all would.
Yeah, well, and I've seen people do this with photos from pressers. It's also like the guy's almost 50. Like, yeah, he got hired as a 36-year-old. What are we doing? Of course he looks worse. He's old.
Right. And it's a stressful job.
Yeah. Anyways.
People on the internet calling for your head. Stressful gig.
I posted a picture from 2016 because that's the whole thing on Instagram right now. Looking at me 10 years ago, somebody could put the side by side and be like, wow, life's really gotten after that guy. My life's been great over the last 10 years. I have no real complaints. But you'd look at the two pictures like, wow, that guy looks like shit. What happened to him? Like, yeah, it's just what happens, dog. It's been a decade.
I don't think that's true. But the 2020,
a lot of people call a beard a glow up, so it's big for me.
Sure. What's the never mind. There's a meme that you kind of look like the guy in the meme, but I don't know what it references. Yeah, so this is really good podcasting. I'll try to find it and send it to you offline. But the 2016 you looks like that meme with the guy making like a serious face. I have no idea what it's a reference to, but it just popped into my head.
Perfect. Along those lines, semi-related, another thing from the presser today is that Kyle Shanahan just confirmed Gus Bradley is the top internal candidate. And we were making jokes on the radio show about how Gus Bradley's official title was assistant head coach of defense, which I thought was just a delightful thing. And so I went to go confirm that was his title, and I looked, and my photo 20 years from now is probably going to look a lot like Gus Bradley. That was just a thing I came to grips with today on the radio.
Yeah, I think he's part of the Bald Brotherhood.
Oh my God, big time. I mean, he's bald. He's just got the gray, just the goatee. Like, my man.
Yeah.
Come on.
I wonder, because it
The
sounds
bald
like
delegation. Thank you.
it sounds like Alfred Morris is still in the mix for the Cardinals job. Or sorry, Raheem Morris, not Alfred
I
Morris.
was about to say 49ers legend? Alfie
No,
Mo didn't even know he was coaching.
No, I don't think the former running back is in the mix. Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
I think he's still in the mix for the Cardinals job. I wonder how he fits into that equation if he doesn't get it.
Yeah. I got the idea today that they kind of brought in Gus Bradley as this very specific contingency plan.
Sure.
Where it would be kind of fucked up if they hired somebody else now. But I don't know for sure. Raheem Morris also Kyle Shanahan's guy, so.
Right. And Kyle Shanahan might not want to say he's a candidate for the DC job if he really wants his homie to get a head coaching job.
He did also say that Bradley is the top internal candidate.
Right.
He said they're going to interview outside the building as well.
Right. Can I offer an early take? Can I offer an early take?
Real quick, let me ask you a question. Do you think the Seahawks will let the 49ers just hire their defensive coordinator?
I don't think that's a thing.
No? All right.
No.
What about Houston? Do you think Houston would just let the Niners have their defensive coordinator?
Nope. Don't think that's how it works.
Not well.
Yeah, people on the internet just talking about the rules of coaching hires and just being vehemently wrong are it's a thing that's happening apparently. Sorry.
Hire Mike McDonald as the assistant head coach of defense. Would we take that job?
Good if McDonald quit being head coach of the Seahawks, sure. I have an early take on Gus Bradley as a potential candidate.
I don't think it's early. I think we're here, bro.
I don't know how much I love it.
Okay.
Strong. Looking at his recent history as a coordinator, at least the numbers and the rankings aren't awesome. Like he did, like the best defense that he's had in his last 5 years as a coordinator was 2020 with the Chargers when they finished 9th in yardage. They were 10th. They were 11th, 10th, and 9th. He hasn't been with Vegas this team for a year, where he only lasted a year, and then 3 years with the Colts that are pretty uninspiring. I wouldn't find Gus Bradley as of right now a super inspired hire.
Okay. Great.
I think if I were to pick my, not Alfred Morris, but Raheem Morris would probably be my pick. If
you want that awesome Falcons squad, want the carryover from that?
Well, he helped the Rams win the Super Bowl as defensive coordinator in 2021.
Good point. He had Aaron Donald though, and prime Jalen Ramsey. It helps.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying.
Is Jair Brown the Jalen Ramsey? Many are asking.
Different positions.
Sort of.
Sort of, yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe Gus Bradley's a different. Get him coaching with Chris Kasurik and Johnny Holland, and
he was in the building this year. The players like him. He was running red zone meetings, and they were in the red zone. I don't know.
You know who was also in the building?
Do you know what? Hey, do you know what? No, here's my take. Hang on. I know Brandon Staley. Yeah, I got it.
Nick Sorensen.
Nick Sorensen. Yeah, but that doesn't count. He wasn't an actual he was just some guy. Like he was just some schmuck who accidentally became important at work. So, and it ruined his life. So my take is that the Niners need better players on defense. I don't think the coordinator matters if you're not going to rush the passer. I know Nick Bosa coming back will help. That's great. But they need better safety play. They need better depth on the defensive line. They might need another corner opposite Diamond Illinois. Like they have other things that they can do to improve their defense that I think Gus Bradley doesn't have a major impact on.
I think that's
Wouldn't
fair.
have a major impact on.
Piggybacking off that take, I think the secondary would look a whole lot better if the front four were good.
Agreed. I agree.
I think the secondary wasn't particularly good, but I don't think it's a thing where you need to replace everybody or make major investments in the secondary. I think it's you improve the secondary by improving the pass rush. That's fair. Take on the Niners defense.
I like that.
Okay. We'll get out of here on a good note.
You heard it here
I was
first.
talking about before.
You heard it here first on this podcast. Getting after the quarterback matters. Write that down, folks.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind when you're grinding your NFL draft prospects.
For sure.
Don't grind the prospects. That's disgusting.
We will talk to you guys later in the week.
Maybe
later this week. Next week is a whole thing.
There'll be pods. Subscribe everywhere. YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, and there will be shit there. There will be shit for ya.
There will be. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Everybody enjoy championship weekend if we don't talk to you before then.
Yeah.
See ya.
Shout out our Rucker.